Surely you've come across these old city, country, or empire names from your history class, the Bible, or movies. Some of us are wondering where they are now, or what happened to them. Some of us plainly do not care at all. And since you're watching this video, you obviously care a little, or perhaps a bit curious. These are 12 name changes of historic places and where they are now. Let's start with probably the most recognizable one you've heard of, the Persian Empire, or simply Persia. You may be familiar with the Persian rug, Persian cat, and the Prince of Persia. All of these came from the country we now know as Iran, or the land of the Aryans. Originally called the Achaemenid Empire, the Romans mistakenly called them the Persian Empire because of the region Persis, where the empire began. In 1935, the Iranian government decided that their country be called by its Persian name, Iran. According to some sources, the suggestion of the name change came from the Iranian ambassador to Germany, who were in good relations with the countries of Aryan descent, because of course they were. Another common name you've most likely heard or read in history books is Mesopotamia, which literally means land between rivers. Mesopotamia also holds historic cities mentioned in the Bible or history books. Ancient cities like Babylonia, Uruk, which we'll talk about more later, Nineveh, and several others. You can visit these ancient cities today, but is ill-advised by pretty much everyone because of the ongoing wars for freedom and democracy. Now, Mesopotamia is not a country in and of itself, but rather a region that occupies present-day Iraq, Turkey, parts of Iran, Syria, and Kuwait. While still on the topic of biblical cities and Iraq, the biblical city of Erech is what scholars now identify as Uruk in modern-day Iraq. According to legends, the ancient Sumerian city of Uruk was built by the mythical hero Gilgamesh. Uruk is also considered to be the first city of the world and where writing originated, and also where the Epic of Gilgamesh came from. This one you probably know already, the city of Constantinople, formerly known as Byzantium. A city who faced several religious, imperial, and cultural conflicts. A city which truly stood the test of time is now called Istanbul in modern-day Turkey. Istanbul used to be the capital of three great empires, Roman, Byzantine, and the Ottoman. Plus, they made a catchy song about it to make sure you won't forget. Turkey holds another historic city you may have heard in your history class or from the stories your uncle told you. The city of Troy, or Ilion, where the Greeks hid inside a massive wooden horse to enter the walled city. I'm sure you've heard of that story before. They even made a movie about it. Several evidences were found in the Turkish city of Hisarlik that dates back to the period of Homer's Trojan War. Bohemia was part of the Holy Roman Empire and is known for its majestic castles and luscious forests. No, the song Bohemian Rhapsody doesn't have anything to do with this historic region. But Bohemian today may mean being unconventional, avant-garde, or free-spirited. But back then, Bohemia was surrounded by mountain ranges, vast forests, and amazing castles, which it still has today in modern-day Czechia or Czech Republic. Heading over to Asia, the Khmer, or the ANGKORIAN Empire, was the largest empire that ruled over Southeast Asia. The name ANGKORIAN is a dead giveaway if you're familiar with the famous Angkor Wat, where the setting of Angelina Jolie's Tomb Raider took place. The Khmer Empire encompassed modern-day Thailand, Laos, southern Vietnam, and of course Cambodia, where the empire's capital Angkor was located. Celtic tribes once inhabited a region called Gaul, a name given by the Romans. Now the Gauls are pretty nuts, so to speak. In 390 BC, the Gauls seized the city of Rome and plundered it, which of course made the Romans very angry. In the end, Romans conquered the Gauls and built several structures which still stands today. Present-day Gaul includes mostly France, parts of Belgium, western Germany, and northern Italy. Going back to Asia, it's easy to identify which country this city belongs to just by looking at these pictures. The city of Edo, which translates to the mouth of Bay, or formerly known as that, which I can't pronounce, which means Castle Town, was the largest city of the world during its prime. Although a prosperous nation, the rural population of Edo lived difficult lives that led them to revolt. A great fire in 1657 also destroyed the castle of Edo. The city of Edo is now modern-day Tokyo and is still one of the largest cities in the world today. Still in Asia, the kingdom of Joseon got its name from the state with the same name that heavily influenced the peninsula during those periods. Joseon shared a good relationship with the neighboring Ming dynasty in China, but had suffered from several invasions from their other neighbor, Japan. Eventually, Joseon divided into two different countries we now know as North and South Korea. The two Koreas went to war for 3 years in the 50s, and an agreement was made that created the Korean Demilitarized Zone, or DMZ, to separate North and South Korea. Even today, people are still arguing where the lost city of Atlantis was located, or if it even existed, that perhaps it was made up by an aging man trying to pass the time. Now, before you click away, let us lay down some facts recently discovered by scientists and archaeologists that may prove that Plato didn't just make up a fictional island. According to Plato's dialogue, Timaeus and Critias, Atlantis was ahead of Athens at a certain period and one day just sank into the depths of the sea. Plato mentioned that the city consisted of centric circles of water and land, 3 of water, 2 of land, and that it's located near the Pillars of Heracles, or what we refer to now as Gibraltar, or the entrance to the Strait of Gibraltar. Recently, people have been digging up evidence on where this lost city's location could have been in, and the structure in northwestern Africa fits most of the description Plato mentioned. The Richat structure, also known as the Eye of the Sahara or Eye of Africa, in modern-day Mauritania, is where the fabled city is speculated to once stood. It also fits the diameter Plato mentioned in his books. According to Plato, Atlantis' structure was made out of red, white, and black rocks, and that elephants roamed the city, remnants of which you can find in the Richat structure. Atlantis was also said to be abundant of copper, gold, and other metals, which happened to be Mauritania's main export amongst other things. Also, in Greek mythology, Atlas was said to be the king of Atlantis, and if you look up the first king of Mauritania, you'll find more compelling evidence. Atlantis literally means the city of Atlas. Lastly, a Greek historian named Herodotus, also known as the father of history, made one of the most accurate map of the known world back in 450 BC. Looking at the far left region of the map Herodotus made, we can see what Mauritania was called back then. It even fits where the Richat structure is located today. If you're interested to learn more about the evidences of where Atlantis is located today, you can check out a website we'll put in the description below to learn more. If you've read the Bible, or at least went to a church of some sort, then you might be familiar with the biblical city of Sodom and Gomorrah. According to the Bible, these two sinful cities were destroyed by a cataclysmic event where God rained down fire and sulfur to the cities, destroying everything in it. The biblical location of these cities have been under debate for years. Several suggestions of the location point out somewhere south of the Dead Sea, but texts from the Bible suggest that the location could be further up north of the Dead Sea. In 2005, an archaeologist named Dr. Stephen Collins went to the city of Tal El-Hammam in Jordan and found 5 Middle Bronze Age cities buried underneath the ground that matched the description in the biblical text. They believed that the site dates back between 3500 and 1540 BC and was occupied by people for at least 2,500 years until it was suddenly destroyed by intense heat, which is apparent by the partially melted clay, destroyed mud bricks, and pottery, which was dug up on the site. The intense heat that destroyed the cities was said to be from a celestial impact and not man-made. Zircon was also scattered around the area, a mineral that can form under extremely high temperatures and pressure, same ones that can be found on impact sites on both Earth and on the Moon. The last 2 cities we mentioned may be a bit of a curveball since they're technically still theories, which are still being investigated today. But nevertheless, we can't disregard the compelling research these credible people did in order for us to have this knowledge and hope that somewhere out there, Ancient cities we only read in our textbooks are still in hiding in plain sight, waiting to be discovered.